not for any reason ever share your private keys, passphrases, passwords, or click suspicious links. Everyone all the time is trying to steal your stuff. So go slow and be careful. There's no point making all this money just to give it to a thief. All right. Good morning. Well, somewhere. Okay. So it is, it is SophiaVerse day 1. So we'll talk about that. For those of you that do not have that token, it's probably safer. I would give it the rest of the day and just watch. It's been pretty quiet, and quiet is good. So anyway, we'll look at that. Brandon will join us here in just a minute. We'll look at that and any things that he saw that were weird or unique or quirky or whatever. Matter of fact, let me check my thing. Okay, cool. So there's that. All right, let's see. We got some cool AI news, so I'll probably tackle that first. And then we will get to, what's going on here. Now, I don't have my cool, like little video thingies yet on this one. I guess they don't transfer among StreamYard accounts, whatever. So I'll have to make, if anybody makes a cool AI little 10 second AI Giphy thing and it's cool, I'll use it for those GIF makers out there. Give the GIF of GIF. All right. So we'll do that. So, and then we'll look at markets and all that kind of stuff. But right now, let's kind of just look at AI stuff. And there's always AI news, as you guys know. It's like, it's so much. There's so much news. So we'll tackle that first. Okay. Big tech promising AI safeguards. Wah, wah. Bing Chat is coming to Chrome and Safari. What? That's good. OpenAI CEO launches a cryptocurrency, WorldCoin. Sorry. All right. Here's what's going down over at the Biden administration. Under pressure from the administration, major AI companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they've all committed to implementing safety standards. So we're going to be safe about the takeover of society. We promise. Very safe. Anyway, in response to the growing concerns about AI, mostly by people who just 6 months ago were crap talking AI, saying that it was nothing. And now they're like, oh, it's a big deal now. It's a big deal. It's the biggest deal. Everybody's an AI expert, even though they didn't even know what AI was. They're like, automated instruction? No, stupid. Anyway. So this newfound commitment comes after concerns over potential threats that AI technology poses, including OpenAI's ChatGPT investigation by like 3 people who were like, hey, it took some of my words that I put on the internet for free, and they're like, shut up. Anyway, these companies will conduct internal and external security testing, share information on managing AI risks, invest in cybersecurity, and prioritize research on AI's societal risks. True, but probably to assess AI's societal risks, we may need AI. Okay, so that's good, I guess. This move aims to ensure responsible use and governance of AI amid the rapid development and rollout of the technology. Okay, well, that's good. Been a lot of talk, been a lot of kind of AI virtue signaling. Most of it bullcrap. So I don't know, man. This whole AI safety thing. What do you think about all the AI safety stuff, Brandon? Is it like all these companies that are like, no, we believe safety first, and they just keep on building? It's like virtue signaling, right?
They're abstinent too to change. I think that's what it is. I watched this documentary on Disney yesterday. They're holding back because they don't want to accept that AI is really going to start taking over jobs as quickly as it will happen. And so they're more abstinent, and they're saying, "Oh, we got to be safe. We got to stop because you don't know what's going to happen." But in reality, I think they're fearful of what is happening. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too, it's like the companies that are behind are like, slow down. Like, remember when Elon was telling everyone to slow down, and then he launched his own company? He's like, now we need to have full like everything full, go fast. Come on, bro. Get off the gas, fella. So we'll see. All right. Let's get to the rest of this news, and then let's talk about SophiaVerse, the fun stuff. Okay. What else is going on in the news? Let's see. I guess Bing chat coming to Chrome and Safari is pretty cool. Brandon, do you use Bing? Do you use Bing chat?
Nope. Don't use Bing.
Not at all. Anybody's used Bing until just recently. But anyway, Microsoft's Bing AI chatbot is currently being tested on Google Chrome and Safari browsers, meaning it will work. It'll when it comes out on Chrome, it'll be available for Brave, which is badass. And right now, its initial availability is just on Edge, like Edge, the platform, which I don't even know what that is, but that's where it's at. Anyway, so some limitations on Chrome and Safari include a 2,000-word prompt limit and conversation reset after only 5 turns, which makes it kind of unusable. Anyway, there are pop-up prompts which tell users to download the Edge browser when using Bing chat on Chrome, which is kind of weird. I don't know why Chrome would allow Bing to come harvest people over to Edge. But that's pretty bad when Google is so far behind on their like AI chatbot functionality that they're willing to let Microsoft come over and harvest their clients. That's bad.
That's not like, great. Dude, just step up your game. They have the resources. Like, this would be like a overnight thing where you like do everything you can.
How far behind are they? God. Anyway, there's a dark mode being introduced for Bing chat. Is that even a thing? Like, it, I
love that announcement.
That's
a non-announcement announcement. That's what they call stuff. They're like, they got nothing else going on.
With all the stuff going on in AI, they're like, we also have dark mode. Everybody has dark mode. It's just like a button that switches. Oh, God. Anyway, enabling Bing AI on Chrome while enforcing limitations and pop-ups to download their free browser to disable limitations seems like a kind of power move by Microsoft to like vacuum up new clients. And I guess it would work because if you're using Chrome and it sucks, you're going to be like, oh, just click this button and it will no longer suck. The non-suck button. I mean, you would click the non-suck button and then you're over on Microsoft's kind of system, their ecosystem. And then I guess that's interesting that even Chrome would allow that. Turns out it's hard to get users apparently to download Edge, even when everyone has been on default mode on Chrome. I mean, I use Brave now more than Chrome. I only use Chrome when I'm pushed out to it. Do you use Brave?
No, I only use Chrome. Is Brave that good? Should I switch over? What?
I mean,
I love Chrome.
Maybe you like pop-ups.
I don't get pop-ups. I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't refer to that.
Maybe I have
so many extensions on Chrome that work so well on Chrome that I'm sticking with
They
Chrome.
work on Brave too, buddy.
We'll see.
All right, and then finally in AI news, and then we'll get to Sophia launch. OpenAI CEO launches his own cryptocurrency. It's called WorldCoin.
WorldCoin. Yeah, I saw that. They've been advertising this for like 8 months, right, or whatever. This guy, he's been doing the spammy like Twitter bot advertising, marketing. And it couldn't be exactly. He paid all these like influencers to go shill this thing, has every sign of a classic rug coin. I don't know if he's going to rug or not, but it has every sign leading up to a rug.
He can't rug. He's the
Can't
CEO
rug,
of OpenAI. I think
yeah.
I think he's fallen victim to a little bit of his own success, and he thinks he's a kind of kingmaker, and that, well, listen, I started the transformer networks and the large language models, therefore I can start money. What? So I think this is a flopski. Now, his whole thing is like his idea makes sense, right? Like, I get where he's coming from, and I don't think that he's a bad guy. Also, he's not doing this to get rich. He's already freaking rich, like really, really rich, like not Elon rich, but pretty rich. I bet he's borderline billionaire. So he gives zero craps if this thing is successful, other than I think he does have this vision of like, well, he's basically saying that their aim is to create a global identity network with a unique digital identity for individuals known as a world ID, which sounds a little bit dystopian, kind of like government control-y type. I mean, whatever. Anyway, the project aims to differentiate humans from AI and potentially lead to AI-funded universal basic income. So this is a way for, this is UBI. You get everybody on the network, and then you start handing out tokens. And if those tokens have value, you've given everyone money. And look at, he's our savior. Thing is, just giving people currency units doesn't mean anything. I don't know, man. Anyway, the project has faced criticism for alleged deceptive practices in some countries, although, you know what, so has GPT and AI. So I'm not really mad at him for that. And challenges in the global regulatory climate for cryptocurrency. So although it's not really AI related, WorldCoin design caters to kind of a world where AI and humans have significant interdependence. This sounds a little bit like bullshit. Just sounds like bullshit.
I mean, I've seen everything there, all along this line of this whole thing, and yeah, I don't love it. It's not my favorite.
In other OpenAI news, OpenAI previously introduced an AI detection tool called AI Classifier to identify content created by AI. However, it was not very accurate, like not at all. And they have discontinued that tool because it turns out that AI is smarter than AI detection software.
Well, how could it be that accurate? I mean, like, really, to notice it, like, you and I can't notice the difference very well. So how are you going to teach an AI bot to notice the difference between? How do you know AI didn't write something or somebody else didn't say it exactly the same as AI would have said it? Everybody has their own voice. What if you sound like an AI robot?
Think it did when it didn't?
I don't know. It's just like, good luck.
Think you ain't when you are. Okay.
They created this thing so that
Europe
teachers could help stop students and stuff from using AI. But whatever.
Brandon, Europe is putting AI in charge of companies. UK, how'd you like to own stock in that? I would probably. UK-based health tech startup Huna Technology has introduced Indigo VX, the first ever AI in Europe to serve as the CEO of the company. And you know what? It's probably going to, I bet there's a bunch of CEOs out there like, please fail. God dang it, please fail. Because, I mean, this is the beginning of what the future is going to look like. Now, this is a clunky version of it. But anyway, they combine AI with human intelligence. The system operates as a supervised artificial intelligence agent, collaborating with humans to make optimal business decisions. Isn't that just the same thing as the CEO just using ChatGPT every morning before he goes into work?
Yep.
I guess it's just one human, one more human removed. Let's see. The chief of innovation, AI hype is driven by marketing. Yeah, no shit. In a recent interview, Duke professor and former FDIC chief innovation officer at the FDIC. What are they innovating? Hey, Brandon, today we're going to bail out another bank with money. No. You go run that by the innovation officer first. There may be another way to do this. What? His name is Sultan. Really? Anyway, he's cautioned about AI hyping, stating, so much of AI right now is just driven by marketing teams and not actually by technologies. So I think it's not surprising at all that what we're talking about is just the hype cycle. Wait, He said hype cycle. You put an R in there, hypercycle. Do you think that that's like a secret wink, wink? Is he winking at us?
You think it's code?
Jungle in the house. Yeah, I think it's code. No, there's no code here. Okay, let's get to what people probably are kind of more interested in. Anyway, got interesting tech news, I guess. Okay, we got to talk about markets. As in specific. So I guess this isn't really a Brandon's tech tip. This is more like Brandon's thoughts. But I'm still gonna play. But the only bumper I have is the tech tips one because you won't give me any other bumpers.
I feel
All
like
right, Brandon. So let me see. Let me pull up.
Whatever.
Let me pull up on CoinMarketCap. So here's what we're looking at right now, I guess. What do you got?
What do we see?
We see.
Share your screen.
Un segundo.
Okay, there it is.
What do we got?
There it is.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Woo woo.
Obviously, we had the launch this morning. It's drifting lower, just kind of like I thought. And I put this in our private group, but I don't think that we found a bottom yet on Sophia. This happens, it will drift lower, in my opinion, down. I want to say 8-7 cents, possibly easily today. Just because I see a potential sell off to that point. But I also think, and this is what I mentioned too, I think Sophia is still undervalued at this price because Sophia has a lot going for it. The only negatives that I see with Sophia is its botted marketing that I saw, and that always is like a red flag for me, which really bugs me, is that botted marketing that I saw over on Twitter and a couple other places. Like, I don't understand why they do that. It doesn't fool anybody when you check the actual substance of the replies and things like that. You can see right through it. So it's kind of frustrating they do that. But I did notice, okay, so if we're going to compare and contrast the two differences between Sophia launch and Hypercycle launch, here's my thoughts. Hypercycle launch was a little more tight-lipped in that not a lot of people actually had the contract address. So this was actually good for us because I think we saw more of a natural progression of what really would have happened without bots, without a lot of people interacting with the contract. We saw our buys and we saw our sells, but we did see the price run up quite a bit more. And my reasoning behind this is, and I don't know that I could actually pull it up fast enough, but I did do some in-depth kind of like while I was going through this, I saw a couple of transactions that really stood out to me. One of them was probably 17 minutes into the launch. I saw a 9 Ethereum sell. And at first glance, I looked at that 9 Ethereum sell on Sophia and I said, well, that's strange because I looked at that person's wallet and I'm like, they didn't buy these on Uniswap. So they must have been given these Sophia tokens, right? And I'm like, that's strange because I don't think anybody was given that many Sophia tokens at all.
Could be a launch pad. Could be a launch pad.
It could have been. But then I dove deeper, right, Nick, as we do when we're researching this stuff, just to see what's happening. And guess what? As it turns out, they bought the Sophia tokens over on gate.io.
Right.
They transferred those tokens immediately over to Uniswap, as we know. What has that situation created? Arbitrage. Okay.
What?
So, yeah. So this was the price difference between Gate.io and Uniswap at the time was enough for this person to make a tidy little profit. And so that's something that we didn't see over on Hypercycle. Hypercycle, MEXC, as you know, was locked up for a lot of people. And that was the only other exchange where Hypercycle was released on. And being that it was locked up, we saw that squeeze in Hypercycle that we didn't see today in SophiaVerse because right now there was 3 exchanges with 0 problems on any of the exchanges. So everything was a fluid market. So any arbitrage situation was captured almost immediately. And I saw these guys do this within seconds of being able to transfer from one exchange to the other to be able to capture those little small gains. So we didn't see the buy pressure that we saw in Hypercycle. We saw immediate sell pressure as well while they took advantage of this stuff. And so that's why we didn't see the huge jump up and the huge spike down, is because they were able to do that a lot quicker than before, which was interesting. The other thing that I did notice was a lot of the people pulling their tokens off the launchpad and things were immediately going to stake those tokens, obviously taking advantage of the huge interest rate that we're seeing over at Singularity DAO's vault, which is really good. And although I know we're watching the price kind of drift lower, I do think this is still a good start of your DCA right here for SophiaVerse, if that's what you want to do. If you're wanting to get into SophiaVerse, I love this price right now. I love where it's sitting. Given all the price action I've seen already today, this is solid, especially given that you're getting 100+% over on the Sophia DAO, the dashboard over there. So those are my thoughts as I kind of went through the launch this morning. What did you see, Nick?
I didn't see much. It seems pretty quiet. Look, it got up to like what, just shy of 13 cents. And
got to 30 cents.
Well, 30 but 30 for just a few, like what, seconds?
So yeah, it popped up to 26 cents. Some people sold off super hard. Then it popped back down to 12, 14 cents, then popped back up to 31 cents. And then you had that big sell, and it dropped it from 30 cents down to 20 cents with 110 ETH transaction, which is so illiquid, but that's expected.
Right. But that's still in the first few minutes of trading. I tried to kind of
caught it. I wouldn't. Yeah, I didn't catch it because I even tried, and I had 17% slippage set, and none of my transactions filled. I still have a transaction stuck that I can't even send a blank nonce to on one of my wallets, which is absurd for me. And it's I've never had this happen anyway.
Do you want to explain that? Because a lot of people don't understand that you can nuke a transaction that you fired out there, even if it won't let you readily cancel. Do you want to kind of explain that for people so they understand what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. So if you set up a transaction on MetaMask, basically each transaction has a nonce assigned to it. When you see the transaction complete, when you say it says, oh, transaction 2142 completed on MetaMask, or 26, each one of those is a separate nonce. If you go to cancel a transaction, that cancellation transaction will be completed on the same nonce. And that cancellation transaction has to be a higher gas fee, or else it will fail. Sometimes even when you go to cancel a transaction on MetaMask, that will still stick pending. And right now I have a pending transaction that has been pending for an hour and a half. So typically you can go set up your MetaMask, change the advanced settings, and change it so you can control the nonce that you're sending to. Send Ethereum to yourself, 0 Ethereum to yourself, using the same nonce number. So let's say your transaction's number 2000. You can type in 2000 as the same nonce. It will go override those prior 2 transactions that you set, and it will supposedly cancel that transaction as long as you set a higher gas fee, because it goes and it fills the higher gas fee transactions before all the other transactions, because the miners will pick up that transaction first. So in turn, it will do the cancellation transaction before it fills the swap transaction or something like that. So if you ever need to cancel a transaction really fast, you can send a blank transaction at the same nonce to your same wallet. Did that make sense? Kind of.
Here's what I think. I think that's our next. I think that's our next tech tip, Brandon. I think that Brandon has decided that our tech tip for today that he's going to do right when we get done with this is how to send a 0 nonce transaction to nuke a pending transaction that you can't unwind. Because maybe talking through it ain't enough.
Yeah, sometimes talking through it, you're like, what just happened? Yeah. But we have some amazing tech tip videos right now. Oh my gosh. I have one that I just finished like late last night on hypercycle on how to fund their liquidity pools, which was really cool. I don't know if you guys understand the funding of liquidity pools. And I did this extremely good video on, pat myself on the back, on impermanent loss. That is a concept that not a lot of people understand, is impermanent loss and what that means as far as liquidity pools, but also everything else maybe that you buy in crypto, like NFTs and things like that. There is impermanent loss in those as well while you're holding that NFT. And so that's a concept that you need to understand. But launching and funding these liquidity pools, I just did a video on. We're going to release that to digital private clients so they can see how to do that and kind of explain that whole process, as well as the yield vaults and other things. Oh my gosh, there's so much to learn. This is good stuff.
Okay, so let's get back to SophiaVerse. If you were a buyer, I will say this: the people that got in on the launch pads got very small allocations. Their selling is very minimal, but selling and buying equals out, and that's where you get what the price is, right? And when you get a lot of people on both sides, you get very tight spreads, and when you don't have many people, you have very big spreads, and that's just the whole idea. Now, if you didn't own any, didn't get any on a launch pad. And just so that everyone knows, everybody that did participate early, seed, private round, launch pad people, they only got today 5%. And then every month, they're going to get a release of about 3.958%. Well, not about 3.958%. And so that's going to go for a period of 24 months. So knowing that, you can assume that this thing didn't go way, way high. My range that I guessed at earlier was 25 to about 55 cents. I didn't think it would bust through that, but I thought it would get 25 cents. Now, technically it did, but I don't consider it that I really nailed that because that was that early trade action. If I don't own any, and I'm just looking at this with fresh eyes, I do think this is a place where you could, again, you do you, but if I didn't own any, I wouldn't be against dollar cost averaging into it. But you have to be dollar cost averaging. Don't say, I've got 20 bucks, I'm going to spend all 20 right now. You need to be breaking that into purchases because you may be happy or very sad over the next 3 days. If this thing goes to 4 cents, you would be sad if you spent all your money today. If it goes to 40 cents, you would be sad if you spent all your money over the period of 3 or 4 days. The difference is if it goes up, you'll still be happy that a little bit that you bought went up. If it goes straight down, there's no way to paint that up. Like you're not putting rims on that, right? You're just going to be unhappy. So you have to separate yourself, pull as much of the speculation out of it as possible if you want to participate in this. And also, they haven't really made so many announcements about when they're going to fire off the metaverse, like specifics on when you can park your tokens, not like at Singularity DAO, which you can do right now, but when you can park your tokens in the actual metaverse and start earning guard tokens and all that kind of stuff. They haven't talked about specifically how the AGIX token is going to fit into this whole thing. And also like all of the new kind of Sophia domain squatting. That's going to be another thing that we will dig into definitely for digital heavyweights, because there may be some kind of interesting investment kind of, being first type activity there. So I guess I'm with you, Brandon. I think you can be dollar cost averaging into this if you're very careful. I wouldn't think 10 cents is bad.
No, and here's the thing. As you DCA in, that interest rate, like I talked about, is going to help. Getting 100% interest is going to help regardless. Even if it drops to 7 cents, you're getting at what is the interest rate? 200% right now or something. That's 0.5% per day that you're making on your tokens or something like that.
I'll look right now. When I was looking earlier, let's see. Let's go all tokens. Let's look at the vaults.
Oh, it's 150%. So that's 0.3% per day that you're getting on your tokens. So every 3 days you get.
It's 160 on, it's 160 on BNB, 160.3. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, obviously these numbers are going to come down. However, I think most of the people that were going to park their tokens and collect yield are doing it. Those tokens are parked. I am curious if we're going to see a launch on KuCoin. Remember, exchange listings, Gate is barely an exchange. It's a cool one. You can move stuff around, but and MEXC is barely an exchange. So if it gets a listing like a BitTrue listing, or which is a better, but if it gets a KuCoin listing, that's a pop. And if it gets a KuCoin listing and it sustains, then it's probably going to get a Binance listing. But again, this is all speculation, except that I think that KuCoin is actually happening. So I would say this is, again, a safe place to enter, but you may want to have your brain should be doing this. A, who's buying? B, where are they putting the tokens? Are they buying for arbitrage in these early days? There's arbitrage opportunities. Like the people that took advantage early. But I think if you're dollar cost averaging, park your stuff in vaults And then you'll look and see when they talk about where you can post the tokens, like the Sophia tokens to earn guard, whenever they roll that out, and that could be months away. But then you will just look at whichever one pays best. And you stay in the one that pays best until it no longer pays best, and then you go the other way. Or you split your tokens because you think this guard token might be something special. So you got to kind of, there's a lot of weird inner token arbitrage in this particular play. So yeah. That's kind of where my brain's at.
Overlay the Sophia chart over the hypercycle chart and kind of watch that trend. Very similar right now, even though it didn't spike as high, but you'll see the drift off, and that drift off is kind of like what I'm kind of planning for SophiaVerse-ish. Is the same thing that happened with hypercycle.
Are you parking? Did you park your tokens in the vaults?
Yeah.
You know, when it first opened, it was paying 35,000%.
So the first block made 35,000, the second block made 17,000, then down to 8,000. That dropped really quickly, but yeah, you're right. I mean, 35,000 is pretty nuts for even one block. You almost made probably 10 tokens or something, you know?
Now, okay, let me ask you this. If someone, okay, this is something that actually comes up quite a bit. If somebody wanted to go with SophiaVerse, if they wanted to go from the Ethereum token over to the BNB token, what is the, because multi-coin, multi-chain, they're done. That bridge is over with. So you're sitting on Ethereum tokens, but you want to get in and out of the vault. You might want to harvest on a regular basis. So what do you do? I've got the Ethereum token. How do I end up with the BNB token of the same?
Well, I mean, I know that, I don't know, probably the best way is sell it and then go rebuy it on the BNB chain, unless you see a better way right now. Because I don't know of a better way right now.
There's not a lot of ways to swap, is there? I mean, it does suck that that bridge got nuked by those douchebags.
Yeah, as soon as they open the bridge back up, obviously best case. And you pointed out too, okay, so to your comment earlier that I saw in and I know we can probably bring this up because it's important, in digital private client, you said not to use the MetaMask bridge. The reason that you said that was smart, because right now the spreads are too wide on all the exchanges to use that bridge. You'll lose too many tokens in that process. So if you go to use a bridge, you're basically setting a market order out there in the world for them to use any bridge, any liquidity, any pool they want to be able to get that swap accomplished. And it's not going to be advantageous to you. So that's why, I assume, why you said that.
Yeah, I always look around and I say, okay, wait, before I pull the trigger on a swap, so like, as a for instance, sometimes I'll make a swap right on MetaMask. If I see this big slippage, I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds bullcrappy. And I'll go and look and see, okay, wait, is this better over like through Pancake Swap? Now, it should be pretty close. When you look at the average price per token that you're paying or getting paid, it should actually almost be the same because they're still drawing from the same liquidity. But every now and then it's not. And so you just go with the best deal. So sometimes Pancake Swap makes sense. Sometimes Uniswap makes sense, although I tend to have a lot of failed Uniswap transactions. I don't know why. And I have very few failed MetaMask transactions. So sometimes for 87 basis points, I'm okay paying the juice on a MetaMask swap. But you have to, the slippage will scare you. But remember, like, let's say you're getting paid, like a hypercycle is a good example because some people wanted to get liquid on it. Okay, you're getting paid 30%. And you take your rewards, which is X amount of rewards that you're making 30% on your original money that you put into the box. Now you're doing a swap and there's 10% slippage on the swap. That doesn't reduce your rewards down to 20% from 30. You got the 30%. So like if you had 1,000 tokens and you made, let's just say 1,000 was your interest. That was representing your 30%. And you have a 10% slippage when you go to swap into, say, USDC or USDT. Well, it's really only taking away 3% of the yield that you were earning, because it's on that swap. It's not on the big number, it's on the small number. So you got to make sure that you don't kind of overthink it. So I always make sure, even if the slippage looks gross, I go down and I look and say, okay, what is the cost per token I'm getting paid or cost per token I'm paying? That's all you really care about. So it doesn't matter if the slippage is 1 trillion on a MetaMask swap. You just look and go, well, I'm still getting paid 52 cents a token. Are you okay getting paid 52 cents a token? It doesn't matter what the funny money number is on CoinMarketCap or on Live CoinWatch. What you get paid is what you get paid. So kind of, I try to reduce things to the simple. You have any kind of advice there for people that are banging around on swaps?
Nah, I mean, the only thing that's going to make you learn about this stuff is trial and error too. More than us just talking about it, you'll see these things through practice and what you do. And so that's going to be the best educator.
Hey, Bill asks, how do you earn 30% on Hypercycle? Want to tell him?
Great question, Bill. Well, besides the video that I put out the other day on how to stake over on Singularity DAO, that's the #1 place. But
well, exactly that.
There's a couple other options though. There's a couple other options actually, which is cool.
To make 30%?
Yeah, you can. Well, okay, so let's walk through this. Hypercycle is simplistic, the simplest way. Go stake on Singularity DAO's dashboard. Okay, I put out a video the other day. I don't know if you've shared that anywhere, Nick, where they can see that, but that video will explain step by step on how to go ahead and stake your Hypercycle tokens. You're going to be getting 30% on those things. The best thing about Singularity DAO is it's not a time unlock. If you need your tokens immediately, you go and stake them. You go ahead and withdraw those things, and you get to take those off the vault. Now, through my liquidity pool video, you'll learn a little bit on that thing that's going to be released later today in Digital Private Client. You can actually earn up to 50%. So it's 100% on the liquidity pool tokens, but you're actually only getting 50% because half of that's ETH as well. So pretty cool.
Now, I do think we should kind of quasi warn people. If you see a liquidity pool paying 110%, so let's go back to it. We can actually look at it. So when you are on, everybody should familiarize themselves with Singularity DAO if you want to participate. And again, not telling anyone to do anything. I'm just saying, if you want to participate, you need to familiarize yourself with the Epic vaults, the unbonded. Now we're talking about yield vaults. Okay. So in an unbonded vault right now, you can get around 30% on Hypercycle, 31.6 on Ethereum, 32.7 on BNB chain. So that's unbonded vaults. There's no lockup period. It's 2 transactions. It's one to do the handshake with the wallet, and the second one is to actually send the tokens in. Okay. And you can unstake, you can harvest, you can withdraw whenever you want. Great. Yield vaults is what he's referring to now. And you're being a liquidity provider, you're transferring tokens in so that other people can use them for swaps. But, and at some point it'll like show up on the screen.
It takes a second. It takes a second. It'll load, but it takes a second on this one for some reason.
But I would urge people to be careful, because if you're getting paid, and again, watch the video, Brandon's tech tip from yesterday. Now there's going to be a lot more about liquidity pools because it's a big deal, and apparently it's just breathing. I guess that's better than, there we go. It's better than the spinning pinwheel of death. When you're doing this, so as an example, if we go over to Hypercycle, we say, okay, cool. Hypercycle BNB is paying 134, almost 135%. Yeah. Brandon, what happens if Hypercycle, if the token goes up by 4x?
Then you lose, like I put a graph in my, oh dude, this is so cool. You're going to love this video, but I put a graph in the liquidity pool video, or no, I put it in the impermanent loss video, but you basically are going to lose 75% on your original that you put into the pool. Okay. And that's going to be gone. So even though you made 100%, you only really made like 20% or something like that, 25%.
You've got to peg it to the slower currency. This is a way that I was taught, is you always in liquidity providing, where you're providing. So the idea is I'm providing both sides of a pool so that swaps can be made back and forth. Now, if I do that and one token goes up, the difference is arbitraged by the other token. Meaning, if you're investing in a pool and you have these tokens in there, if some token skyrockets, you're going to lose most of that upside. Now you're going to make money on the constant fees generated by those trades. But if this token does a 10x, you ain't getting a 10x, bro. You're getting the fees as they accumulate, and you're going to end up with 138%, not 1,000%. I am always averse to providing liquidity to tokens before they have really moved, because you can get, You don't lose money, you lose potential profit. So impermanent loss, you haven't lost anything. It's just the gains that you would have made get muted because you don't get the percentage gain of the higher moving asset. So you always have to put in your mind, I'm going to end up with more of the slower moving asset. But if you look at it just as a place to expand your currency units, especially like in pools that may be based on a stable coin, well, then you're going to end up with overall more net value at the end of some duration of time. But you may be pissed off later because you look and go, crap, dude, this token just did a 5x. So for instance, if you were providing liquidity for Hypercycle when it was 26 cents, you're not super happy right now in the 50s because you didn't get that double. You got 138% divided by 12, right? So you got about 13, 14%, which is still great, but it's not 100%, which you would have had if you had just stayed in Hypercycle. What do you think, Brandon? Is that a fair kind of dummy explanation?
No, that's easy to understand when you explain it that way. And it's like, what you want when you're in a liquidity pool is you want both tokens to be kind of raising at the same rate. So just like Nick said, if one takes off and the other one doesn't, or if one drops and the other one doesn't, you've lost basically. Just the way that liquidity pools work. So if you don't understand impermanent loss, don't do a liquidity pool. Basically.
Yeah, me personally, I'm not messing with liquidity pools because if you're going to pay me 30%, 20%, 10% on Hypercycle, and I just get to sit there and I get the appreciation of the token, I'll stay there. Now, what you may do is, let's say Hypercycle got to $1 or $1.50, and you have tons that you've made in that. Now, the other way to play it is it behaves like a stable kind of a stop loss is the way you might think about it. Because if that token drops back down, if there's some hard sells, you're not going to get nuked on the drop either. It's going to get re-arbitraged as people are swapping and swapping and swapping and swapping. You're going to end up with tons more of the token that's dropping as it gets arbed back. So on the down direction, as long as you're okay being in that token, you would actually be better off. So some people I've seen, they go, oh, I've already made so much on this token. I'm willing to provide liquidity because even if it sells off, what do I care? And if it doesn't sell off, I make, 60, 80, 40, 900,000%. So a lot of it depends on where you got in and kind of where you're at. It's a lot of moving pieces.
It really is. I mean, there's a lot to it.
It's like crypto's not easy, I guess.
Crypto's not as easy as you think it is, but this is the one. I mean, crypto grandma there. I don't know if you see that, but I mean, it really does make sense to have kind of like a lot of this information coming at you, so you can digest it slowly. You don't have to take it all at once. So I know I saw up there a couple of comments saying, "Whoa, that was over my head. That's something I don't understand." That's okay. Like, it is a lot to understand, and it's new concepts. These are mathematical concepts that have been around for a while. The math that people use to be able to explain these concepts has been around for ages and years and years and years through other systems that have monetary use. But understanding these things now that you can implement these things in your personal portfolio is really difficult to understand. So make sure you understand them, or at least try to grasp them a little bit more before you jump into these things. But when you do finally understand them and it becomes simpler to understand, you'll see the potential of the utility of each of these tokens as you go put these in yield vaults or stake them or add liquidity pools, because there is money to be made, and that's the reason they exist, and that's the reason people are using them.
Brandon, can you quickly explain what is a yield vault? So here's the vaults that you would see here. You would see epic vaults, which have lockup periods of 3 months, 6 months, or a year. That's what you put your tokens in. They're stuck there, but you're getting a guaranteed fixed APR over that duration of time. So if it's 10% APR and you're in there for 6 months, you're going to end up with 5% more currency units. Okay, that's the bonded. You could say bonded, but it's the epic vaults. Then you have unbonded vaults, or unlocked vaults, meaning you're not locked in. You can enter and exit the vault whenever you want. Then there's a yield vault. Brandon, you want to tackle yield vaults?
Is Yield Vault just a little bit different because you're earning yield on those tokens in there as well? So you're earning a couple different things. You're earning the transaction fees on the liquidity pool when you're in there. So you get 0.3% on every single transaction, but you don't get the 0.3%. You get 0.3% times your percentage of ownership in the entire liquidity pool. But that is compounding too. So all of your money that's locked up in the Yield Vault as a liquidity pool holder, it's always compounding. So you get yield on that, but then you also get the percentage yield on the liquidity pool tokens that you've locked up in the vault. So you're basically continually farming is what it is.
In all of these, you're providing a service. And so here's what's probably most important to take away is the higher the yield you're getting, that represents risk. So you have to ask yourself, listen, junk bonds pay 6 to 8%. So anywhere in the world where you're getting paid more than 6 to 8%, you have to ask yourself, wait, where does this come from? Now, the unbonded vaults, the locked vaults, the bonded, the epic vaults, those are marketing tokens. Those are tokens set aside by the network to establish enticement for people to get their tokens out of circulation, which is typically price accretive. And the idea is it just gets more people excited about the network, that's marketing money. So you have to know that, oh, okay, that's marketing money. That's not going to be around forever. The 30% they're paying on Hypercycle, that's not going to be around forever. My guess is another month, and that's probably fuegoed, because they're going to be launching tilling and tilling pools and mining, tilling facilities. And when that happens, a lot of tokens are going to go in that direction, getting paid 8 or 9%. It wouldn't make any sense to have 30% being paid over here. So that will go away, and it will be down around 4 or 5% probably, maybe less. It's hard to say, but that's back in the range that you can continually pay to slowly expand a network. That's marketing returns. You have to ask yourself, okay, in a yield vault, what's the risk? Well, you're providing liquidity. You're providing funding to pools so that transactions between tokens can occur. You're helping the network. You're securing it, but there is the risk that you don't get to appreciate with the token. So you're getting paid for that risk. They're saying, listen, if you're okay not getting to participate, we'll pay you 138.6%. If you're okay with not getting to participate in a run. Now, it may not go anywhere. If the price of Hypercycle stays at 50 cents or 55 cents, whatever, for the next year, then in those vaults, you would kick butt. You would do great. You would have done better than the market. But my personal feeling is, especially in the AI space, but in the crypto space in general, things just don't sit still like that. And so for me, providing liquidity doesn't make sense until an asset has appreciated to a point where you're already sitting on 1,000% or 1,200% return, and you're okay just getting paid yield, like some return that's egregious. Brandon, thoughts?
Found Treasures had a question. Yield vaults, they don't have a lockup period, which is insanely cool. So you can go pull it out whenever you need it. You can just reverse every transaction that you did to get into it. You can reverse it to get out of it. And so that's so cool. Singularity DAO doesn't have lockups. The only one that have lockups are the epic vaults, the epoch vaults. They're the ones that have lockups. And so you set how long you want to lock it up. I think it's every 3 months. Yeah, 3 months for those lockups, it looks like. So yeah, those are the only ones.
Bam. All right. We'll answer a couple of general questions, and then we will wrap this one up. Let's see. Is beta tilling for Hypercycle recommended? Well, I think you put your tokens where they are most useful. And right now they're most useful in these unbonded vaults getting 30%. So if someone's not willing to pay you 30%. Now, you might think, wait a minute. If I go and take my Hypercycle tokens, put them into a node, and that node is tilling and raising, like that node has its own score. It's its own rating. And as it rates up, at some point it splits. Now I have 2, it splits 10 times. Now I have 1,024 of them, and I'm making 1,024 times what I was making with one node. Well, time will tell. So there may have been a premium after the fact for tilling that you couldn't recognize in the beginning. So that's a tricky question. For me, someone's going to pay me 30%. I don't give a shit what's going on over here. I'm taking 30% because 30% is dope.
I love 30%.
I love it. It's so much better than 28%.
It really is. Brenda, good question. Okay, so yeah, don't you can sell your stuff anywhere. So basically, if you have it on MetaMask, you can swap out of it on MetaMask. So let's take a coin for example. Let's say you want to sell your fetch or your AGIX, for example. You can swap out of it on MetaMask, or you can send the fetch back to Coinbase and sell it on Coinbase. So either way.
But remember, not all tokens are offered. You can't send a token that's not on Coinbase to Coinbase because you will have put it into hyperspace. And unless they list that token, you got nothing. So don't send your hypercycle to Coinbase to sell it. You cannot do that. That your money is gone. So let me give you one final little hop and a jump, Brandon. Let's say you had BNB hypercycle and you wanted to get USDT out of it. You wanted to get money in your bank account. What do you do?
BNB. Oh, okay. So I am going to swap out of BNB, and they have this thing called USDC, but it's on the BNB chain. Okay. So you're going to swap out of the BNB into USDC on the BNB chain, and you can actually send that USDC that's on the BNB chain to Coinbase, I think. I'm pretty sure we just did it.
Will they accept Binance Chain USDT?
Oh, wait, no, they won't. Okay, so then you got to make one more swap in MetaMask. So you got to take that USDC that's on the BNB chain, you got to swap it to Polygon USDC or Ethereum USDC, but we just did this, and the Polygon one's cheaper. So you swap it to USDC Polygon, and then in your Coinbase, you go over there, and there's a drop down. When you select receive USDC, there's networks. There's 5 networks that are available on Coinbase. USDC, Ethereum, and you hit that drop down and you scroll down to USDC Polygon, and you hit that USDC Polygon, and then you can send to that address from your MetaMask.
You know what this smells like to me?
Complicated. Oh crap! Don't.
Smell.
Do you know how many
videos
I have done? 24 hours a day videos. I'm going to bed one of these days.
This is another tech tip because I get asked this all the time. It used to be easy. It used to be sell to USDT, go to KuCoin.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everybody can do that. Now I still have access to KuCoin. I'm almost scared to use it because I'm like, shit, what if I send? And then they're like, oh, we're on to you.
Dude, I've done such small transactions. When I last used KuCoin, I did such small transactions like, okay, so let me see if I can do anything with it. I can. Okay, then I send more.
So the quick answer would be inside your MetaMask wallet, you swap first from your token of choice. Let's say hypercycle into USDT, but it's BNB USDT. Then from there, you're going to bridge through MetaMask. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Bridge through MetaMask, do the MetaMask bridge over to USDC Polygon.
Right. So you go Polygon, which Matic, right? So you go Polygon USDC or USDT can be, again, verified, but that can be transferred to Coinbase where you can exit out into regular currency units where you will have a tax implication.
I swear. Let me write this down.
Sounds like a video, my man. You did. Oh, nice. Okay, good one, Frank. Okay, so it still works. Yeah, KuCoin probably doesn't care as long as it's like a stable coin transaction. They're probably like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the ETH chain is the easiest. I love the ETH chain. You're right, Andy.
Okay, let's do this. Let's call it a day. It's been fun. We're going to still be watching, and Brandon's doing kind of observing this day one trading, and we're going to eventually have some cool videos that talk about day one trading and how much different it is than all of these other days. I would say my final kind of thoughts are this. If you're going to enter SophiaVerse, I think that the price is pretty subdued. It's quiet. It's pre-KuCoin. I think you could start dollar cost averaging here and not get beat up too bad. But again, dollar cost average. Brandon, final thoughts?
No, that sounds great.
So you'd have no final thoughts. There's just nothing. Your brain's empty.
No, I mean, honestly, good show today, only because there's so much info to digest. The number one thought I would have is watch out for these tech tip videos. We're putting a lot of work into these, and they're valuable resources. So we want to get something out on like almost every topic, because we want you guys to not be that where, oh, that was over my head. That was something I don't understand. We want you guys to be in the know on what's going on in crypto, because crypto is hard. It's not easy to navigate, and there are complications, but we're going to make it so you guys can walk through these a little bit easier, so that when the friends and family starts to parade into this thing, you guys are the pioneers. When the friends and family start to parade in this thing, you can help them and onboard them onto crypto and make their lives so much easier, because that's the biggest fear holding people back, is they don't understand it, and you guys will now.
For everybody that is watching this, may watch this, could watch this, has watched this, or might send it to somebody to watch this. If you want to get access to the tech videos, we're doing a full library over at nickblacknext.com. So all these tech videos will have access to them. And then if Brandon and I are doing anything snarky, you'll be on the list to find out all of the snarky things that we're doing, because we're very snarky, so much snark. So get over there. And also, if you get a chance, put a little thumbs up. We don't monetize these videos. Like the stuff that you see on YouTube is just free crap. But there's a lot of crap on YouTube. So if you thumb up it, other people would say, oh, maybe that's not so much crap. And then they will not make mistakes and blow up their crypto account. So
that's right.
Join us, man. All right. Should we call it a day?
I'm out. I'm out.
All right. I guess deuces, everybody.